James Cameron doesn't do what James Cameron does for James Cameron. James Cameron does what James Cameron does because James Cameron is James Cameron.
Welcome once again to Vlog. I am your host. Today, I'm going to be talking about Avatar: The Way of Water. Or as I like to call it, Final Fantasy: The Spirits Within 2 Avatar: The Way of the... Oh my gosh, why is this movie so long? I'm going to pee my pants. Why is there no intermission? James Cameron, you bastard. What's with all the flowing water? Where did the other cat people go? Is it over? No. Now is it over? No. And they'll just psych out. James Cameron, why are you doing this to me? Just end it already. So yeah, this movie is really, really long. Like, we went to 3 o'clock showing, but we weren't back in our car until 6:45. With that said, Super Avatar is fine if you're looking to just turn your brain off for a couple of hours to look at the blue cat people. It's also the most expensive video game cutscene ever made, which makes for a very peculiar animated film. So the whole thing is in motion capture, like a video game, and there's very little live action or practical effects. They took a lot of inspiration from Final Fantasy and other JRPGs. The characters, the scenery, the mechanical designs, the logic are all out of a video game. I'm not going to spoil the story, just talk about the basic structure. In Grand Theft Avatar, they start some years after the last movie with Jake and Smurfette having a few kids. Evil has returned. They have to flee to a new setting and adjust to their new environment in order to justify all the money they spent on the new underwater motion capture technology. The new Smurfs that we meet are the Water Smurfs, and their physiology is a little different than the Tree Smurfs. Their tails are longer and they have flippers that help them swim. James Cameron is way into the Smurf breeding. Now with the humans, they talk briefly about how the Earth is dying, which I guess is motivation, but they don't really expound on it or talk about what's happening there. They also come up with some random biological substance that's funding the mission in BioShock Navi. But I don't really know why they couldn't just make a synthetic, and the other technology that they already have works just as well to overcome what's the new stuff is supposed to do. Really though, their motivations aren't super important. It's more about the grandeur of Avatar Infinite. Even saying that, I think many people will enjoy Avatar 64 because it's a spectacle unto itself. I think there'll be plenty of people who won't catch that they're watching a video game cutscene and just enjoy the ride. My fiance doesn't play video games at all, but she was really moved by the story of Phantasy Star Avatar. For me, I didn't find it to be anything particularly special outside of the animation. It's just too long. Avatar CD32X is noteworthy for being the longest animated film of all time, but I don't know if that's something the studio would really want to admit. It's more marketable as an action film. The whole thing is basically animated with very few live-action shots. I also found it interesting that Avatar Ace2O is in many ways an extension of Pandora, the world of Avatar at Animal Kingdom. The whale thing and the new Smurfs come directly out of the Flight of Passage ride. The first part of the film also felt like scenes from the Navi River Journey ride. I think fans of Disney World might get a kick out of these aspects, but the theme park stuff is still better than the movies. In conclusion, Tales of Pandora: Azure Wars is an interesting animated film that uses video game logic and animation techniques that's likely to dazzle, even though it's overly stuffed with a mostly forgettable story. So those are just my thoughts and opinions about James Cameron's generic sci-fi film with a ridiculous budget. Directed, written, produced, and edited by James Cameron. This should also not be considered an endorsement. These are just my thoughts and opinions based on my viewing of this film, of which I paid the prevailing rate demanded by James Cameron. I'm just an old guy learning how to make videos on his Apple Macintosh, so there's no reason for James Cameron or anyone else to take anything that I said all that seriously. Thank you again, and I hope you have a wonderful day.